Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brandon Piper. I'm the administrator for the Industry Services Division of the Department of Safety and Professional Services. Thank you for joining our spring quarterly call. As always, we hope you find value in these calls, and staff treats these as an opportunity to address questions that have come up in industry conversation. We have a few items today that were brought to us through those conversations, and the rest have come through the survey and that can be reached via a link in our quarterly newsletter that'll be coming out this Friday afternoon. We appreciate any feedback or ideas for future calls. We're always looking for more content. And we want it to be interactive, and we want the audience to really get something out of it. So coming directly from the audience, we think is the best way to do that. So without any further delay, I'd like to introduce our first presenter from our Fire Prevention, Safety, and Health Program area. We have Gary Peck. Gary, are you there?
I am. Good afternoon. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Happy Wednesday. I hope everyone's doing well. I am Gary Peck, District 3's Fire Prevention, Fire Department Safety and Health Coordinator. I'd like to thank you all for your time this afternoon, and thank you, obviously, for joining us. I'm going to highlight and provide a few updates from our Fire Prevention, Fire Department Safety and Health Program. Our first update is regarding this year's 2025's 2% fire dues self-certification process. Our Fire Prevention, Fire Department Safety and Health Program is currently managing this year's 2% fire dues self-certification process. This process actually opened on January 1st at midnight and closes on April 1st at midnight as well. We currently have 2,112 2% fire dues self-certifications that were submitted so far, which means that fire departments, fire chiefs, municipality clerks have fully completed and properly submitted their fire department self-certifications for this year. We currently have 167 self-certifications that are pending, which means these self-certifications are not yet fully completed. Either the fire chief or clerk still needs to complete and submit their certifications for this year. And currently we have 6 self-certifications that have not yet been started, which means obviously both the fire chief and the clerk have not yet started this year's fire department self-certifications and need to complete and submit their self-certifications prior to April 1st at midnight. So just want to provide a friendly reminder to please ensure your fire department's 2025, this year's 2% fire dues self-certification has been fully completed and submitted, again, prior to April 1st at midnight. As always, if you have any questions or concerns and need any help and support with your 2% fire dues self-certifications, please contact Sarah Brown or your district's fire coordinator. Our second update is an update on this year's 2025's 2% fire dues funding audits. Our Fire Prevention, Safety, and Health Coordinators are currently conducting this year's 2% fire dues funding audits to verify that our state fire departments are obviously complying with state requirements. This year's audits actually started in January and will be ending in May, around May 15th. And as of today, so far, we have scheduled, conducted, and completed 183 total audits. 80 of those audits have been completed. 91 of those audits are scheduled to be completed, and 5 of those audits are still pending, which means the audit was completed, but the auditor's still waiting on documents from that fire department to verify their status. And again, of course, if you have any questions, concerns regarding audits, or truly anything else we may assist you with, please contact your district's fire prevention, fire department safety, and health coordinator. We are truly here to help any way that we can. Next, something our Fire Prevention, Fire Department Safety and Health Program would like to start doing is recognizing the great things that our amazing Wisconsin fire departments are accomplishing. And for this spring of 2025, we would like to highlight the Long Lake Volunteer Fire Department. In late 2023, due to different challenges that the fire department was unfortunately dealing with, the town board had decided that it was in the best interest of all parties involved to temporarily close the Long Lake Volunteer Fire Department and contract out with the Tipler Volunteer Fire Department. with the goal for the Long Lake Fire Department to become an active fire department once again, hopefully in the very near future. Numerous former Long Lake Fire Department members actually became members of the Tipler Fire Department with their determination, drive, passion, pride, and ownership, along with the help of the Tipler Fire Chief and the Tipler Fire Department and many others. The Long Lake Volunteer Fire Department's goal actually became a reality. For many months, this team from Long Lake worked extremely hard, meeting and accomplishing all the state of Wisconsin Fire Department requirements, including creating and implementing Fire Department standard operating guidelines, establishing auto aid and maintenance agreements, meeting and completing many Fire Department training qualifications and Fire Department safety and health standards. And that's just to name a few of the requirements. After a consultation on December 3rd, 2024, and the actual inspection, which took place on February 3rd, 2025, to verify that the state requirements were met in being awarded, issued a state fire department identification number, and becoming an active fire department once again, the Long Lake Volunteer Fire Department accomplished a very rare task. And love of their community and their love of the fire service truly showed throughout this process. Also, the amount of love and support the community had for their fire department was just incredible. Can't stress enough, truly outstanding work by the Long Lake Volunteer Fire Department and all the members involved, all their entire support team. There is no doubt that they will continue to provide the best service possible to all they serve for many years to come. So well done. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, if there's anything that our Wisconsin Fire Prevention, Fire Department Safety and Health Program can assist you and your fire departments with, please just contact us and we will help and support your fire departments any way that we can. We are truly here to help. Thank you again for your time. Please take care. Stay safe.
Thank you, Gary. Next up from our Pouch group, we have Matt Jansen. Just a plug for Matt and program. He was featured on the February 6th episode of the Larry Mueller Show on NPR discussing pouch maintenance. If you missed it and care to hear it, you can find the episode on the NPR website. Matt, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Ben?
All right. So thanks for the plug. It was interesting being on Wisconsin Public Radio, bit to share some information about our pouch program. I'm also going to share some today about what we've been up to lately. First thing I want to talk about is county audits. Like a lot of other programs, we do have a statutory requirement to perform audits on those that we work with that are our agents. So those are typically the counties. And we do not only a field audit in the summertime, but we also do office components, office audits in the wintertime. So provides us not only data about the health of the pouch program, but again, it's also the statutory requirement for us. So a lot of different entities will use that audit information that we gather. So I just wanted to share some of that information that we pulled between 2023. That's the top graph, and the bottom one is 2024. We had a lot of different plans that we had come in. This is what we do for plan review in our program. We had a big surge in the spring a year ago in 2024, and a little concerning to us because we have only so many people in our program to do that. But we had a big significant surge of plans. It did even out throughout the year. We're happy to see that, but we're able to tackle that surge of plans early. If you see in 23 in the top graph, we had some peaks in there through the summertime. Those are a little bit associated with peaks of plan that we had related to the overtime that we were doing. We were short on some personnel. We did have 2 new persons that joined us for plan review last year. So that helped even out the 2024. We didn't have as many peaks in there, but we're able still to maintain within a 15 business day turnaround for our plans. And we saw about a 5% increase. We went up a few permits there from 23 to 24. So overall, our increase in plan reviews translates also into what is done statewide. So statewide, we had 12,157 permits were issued. So we only do a certain amount of the plan review. Our agents, as I said, for the counties and our audits, do the other plan review for us. But overall, the permits that are issued, that's still how many sanitary permits or for construction of septic systems, we were up about 4.2% from 24 to 23 as compared to the previous year. We were down a little bit over the 10-year rolling average, but we had some peaks there post-COVID as people transitioned to home offices and things like that. We noticed there was quite a few upgrades to septic systems for those people being there. So we're down a little bit because we had some peak years in 2020 and 21. Wanted to share permits that were issued. I think it's just sort of an interesting look at across the state, what was the top 10 counties to issue sanitary permits. As you can see here on the list, we had a tie for 10th place. Some counties were very close, like Sawyer, Marathon, 304, 305. But you can see the top 5 permit issuers, or those that had sanitary permits issued for septic systems, were St. Croix, Waukesha, Chippewa, Oneida, and Vilas. Vilas had a large number over Oneida. Those two have been pretty close to the same numbers over the past few years. Vilas was going through some different permitting with short-term rentals in their county, and based on other rules that they have for short-term rentals. They had a number of short-term rentals that were upgrading their septic systems, and that's the reason for sort of the bigger uptick in Vilas County for the number of permits issued in 2024. As far as statewide inventory goes, we're approaching 800,000 systems that are inventoried statewide. As you can imagine, those 12,000 permits that were issued, we had about 6,953 are new systems or new permits, and so therefore if they're new permits, they're added to the inventory. The inventory is about 1/3 of the state's population, give or take, and there is connected to a septic system or what they call a POUTS. It's interesting to note that the number of systems inventoried varies by county. Is that if you look at the list, Vilas and Oneida were the top 2 permit issuers, but they're not the top 2 on systems inventoried. We do have some historical or previous permits that were issued. Dane and Waukesha have a lot of suburban development that are on septic systems, and therefore they have the largest inventories for septic systems within county or jurisdictions or county boundaries. So it's interesting to see that those are the top issuers now and not necessarily the top ones in number of systems inventoried in their counties. And then this is just the breakdown, as I said, that we had, a certain amount of new construction that are added, gives you sort of an idea, percent of new construction permits versus replacement. This is about the exact opposite of what we saw in 2023. It was almost exactly flipped. The graph looks the same, but flipped. It was about 53% for replacement, about 47% for new construction. But just give some ideas of what's happening in the POUTS program, some of the audit information that we gather every year about the health, and besides doing plan review on the auditing the county's plan review, but a lot of data gathering. Just wanted to share that information with you. Otherwise, that's all I have.
Thank you, Matt. Next up from our commercial buildings program, we have Randy Downman. Randy, are you there?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. We're going to talk about something that just recently came through the legislature, for which this department has to respond to. Recently, there's been some action taken on what interior designer licenses can and cannot do. So let's just kind of go over here. I've kind of placed them on slides. We'll try to summarize what was changed and maybe some of the limitations that go with that legislation. Please note, the department can't take any action without being directed by the legislature. So this is right from those that create the rules. So To start with, the state statute 443.175 was modified to allow licensed Wisconsin interior designers to sign, seal commercial building alteration plans. Please note, alteration is not additions. It's not a new building. This is an alteration only. Registered interior designers can now submit plans regardless of the size of the alteration. The scope of such action is limited by that same statute, which states that they have the authority to sign and seal interior technical submissions that are required for an interior alteration or interior construction project for public record. Bottom line is they can't do anything on the outside. Okay, so there's a lot of restrictions here. Moving ahead, the state statute goes on to talk about the practice of interior designs and what it can and can't do. And it contains 8 specific practices that are explicitly excluded from their scope. If I were to summarize all 8 of these, we'll go through them, but my comment would be that they basically cannot do, one, anything on the outside of the building, and anything that involves calculations, footing and foundation, structural design, load-bearing lintels and headers over doors, building envelope for insulation, fire resistance ratings. They can't do any of that. This is strictly non-load-bearing walls being modified on the interior of a building as related to an alteration. So looking at the 8 items, services that constitute the practice of architecture or the practices of professional engineering. Okay, they can't get involved in that. And again, that gets back to the calculations. Second item, altering or affecting the structural system of a building, including changing the building's live or dead load on the structural system. So in other words, if this space was maybe designed for an apartment or office and it only had 40-pound live load and suddenly it's going to become a warehouse, interior designer can't stamp those plans. Changes to the building envelope, including exterior walls, exterior wall coverings, exterior wall openings, exterior windows, doors, architectural trim, balconies and similar projections, bay and oriel windows, roof assemblies, rooftop structures, and glass and glazing for exterior use in both vertical and sloped applications in buildings and structures aren't allowed to be addressed by interior designers. If they are involved in altering or affecting mechanical, plumbing, heating, air conditioning, ventilation, electrical, elevators, if you will, fire sprinkler and fire alarm systems, they're not allowed to address those. Changes beyond the exit access component of the means of egress system. And of course, that abides by the language in the International Building Code. If you need a definition of exit access, you can look it up in Chapter 2 under 202, Section 202. Number 6 addresses construction that material affects life safety systems pertaining to fire safety or the fire protection of structural elements or alterations to smoke evacuation and compartmentalization systems or to fire-rated vertical shafts in multi-story buildings. Interior design can also not address changes of use to an occupancy of greater hazard as determined by the International Building Code. And really that kind of goes back to the international existing building code. And 8, changes to construction classification of the building or structure according to the International Building Code. So for instance, if you had a metal building and for whatever reason the interior designer wanted to use wood framing to constitute a new office, non-load bearing office, that would change the classification of the building from 2B to 5B, right? Non-combustible frame, no fire ratings, to combustible with fire ratings. They would not be allowed to stamp those plans. For reference, in our commercial building code under SPS 36140, that section requires a minimum of 1 or more registered architects or engineers to supervise the proposed construction. Designers may supervise the installation of HVAC, fire protection, and illumination systems. Those licensed individuals with a Wisconsin Interior Designer's License cannot act as a supervising professional of construction for building alterations occurring in commercial buildings consisting of greater than 50,000 cubic feet of total building volume. Due to the statutory definition of practice of architecture, as found in 44301 parens 5, and the definition of practice of professional engineering, as found in the ensuing paragraph, both specifically mention responsible supervision of construction, but the definition of practice of interior design does not. If a licensed individual with a Wisconsin interior designer's license stamps a commercial building plan consisting of greater than 50,000 cubic feet total building volume, then a Wisconsin licensed architect or professional engineer shall be required to be designated to act as the supervising professional of construction for that project. And lastly here, as we look into the commercial building code, the administrative section under 36143A, the department has the authority to require the supervising professional's name and Wisconsin registration number to be provided to the department at the time of plan submittal. In this way, if there are issues in the field found that need follow-up, inspectors would know to whom their designated contact is and make contact with them and discuss the situation. Failing to provide such information as it relates to a designated supervising professional would allow for the submitted building plans to be held until such time that the required designated supervising professional's name and registration number is provided. If no action is taken in a timely manner, the commercial building plans could then be denied by the department or its delegated municipalities. Now, this seems like a lot of discussion. There is. Please note that this discussion was held at the legislative. We didn't write the rules. The rules were modified at this legislative action at the legislature, so we have to abide by their direction and directives. So in summary, Wisconsin interior designers can stamp commercial building plans. They are limited to interior designs. Those designs cannot involve any kind of calculations involving loading, fire assembly, structural loads, footing and foundation, building envelope, etc. They would be obligated to meet the code requirements. Basically, this would involve non-load bearing walls, because obviously if they're load bearing, you're going to need headers and lintels and things such as that. So they could move doorways, put in non-load bearing walls, etc., and stamp those plans. And because the legislative action did not include them as a supervising professional, they are responsible to obtain a supervising professional for that plan, and they need to designate that at the time of plan submittal. So a lot of wordage there, but some important actions that haven't been available in the past.
Thank you, Randy. Next up, we have Kim Schmidt, our boiler and pressure vessel group. Kim, are you there? I'm sorry, Randy, were you not
Yeah.
finished?
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. I'm
Advance the
wondering if I have
slides.
control of this. I think I clicked on something wrong.
There
Okay,
you go.
can you see my slide now?
I can.
Okay. All right, I apologize for the delay. I am grateful to be here today to talk about pressure vessels for the most part. The boiler refrigeration and gas system program within Wisconsin regulates over 80,000 pressure vessels that come in a variety of different mechanical systems. These include, but aren't limited to, chillers, power boilers, liquid recovery boilers, heating boilers, LPG tanks, hydrogen and anhydrous ammonia systems, and many others. The The subject today that I wanted to talk to was about ASME vessels, non-ASME vessels more specifically. This is in regards to previously asked questions that we've received quite often regarding the use of non-ASME vessels in Wisconsin. So the Administrative Code for Boilers and Pressure Vessels 34142 requires that all pressure vessels need to be ASME stamped. However, there are a few exceptions. Here's an example of a couple of different nameplates that have the ASME stamps on them so that they are easily identified. But there are some exceptions. So the first exception, the most easiest straightforward exception, is that we do exempt nuclear power facilities. And in Wisconsin, there is only one. That's the Point Beach Power Plant, which has been in service since 1970 and is scheduled to be in service till at least 2030 when they come up for renewal again. Another exception is the Wisconsin special vessels. That allows people to bring in non-ASME stamped vessels as long as everything is approved by our department. The biggest components of that need to be provided are we need complete plans, calculations, specs in order to determine if the non-ASME vessel is built to an equivalent standard to ASME. Quite often, the ones that have been approved, typically the submitter had provided a comparison provided by an independent third party, which, UL or somebody like that had gone in and done a comparison between the other standard and ASME and can prove to us that they are equivalent. That's the easiest way. We have done some of the research on our own, but obviously the more information that can be provided, the easier it would be for us to approve it. The main thing is we are looking for comparable amount of safety between the two. Another exception are owner-built vessels. These are typically steam traction engines. There are quite a few of these in Wisconsin. There are large shows that occur in Edgerton and Baraboo each year where these guys bring them out and display them and have them running and do all kinds of stuff with them. They are actually permitted. The state of Wisconsin does require that they get inspected on an annual basis and receive a permit to operate. Obviously, the majority of them are not ASME stamped. So again, with the proper information, we do approve those. The final exception is limited quantity. And I'll honestly tell you that in my 10 years here, I have not come across anybody submitting for this exception. So it's there, but we've just never seen it. Again, we would need to see complete plans, calculations, and specs in order to make this work. Now, there are some objects that are exempt from being constructed to the ASME code. Those are hot water heaters, anything having to do with domestic supply, processing or storage of water, water conditioning, and then objects used in fermented beverages. So again, if there's any questions on any of those, if the object is exempt or not, they just need to contact my department and we'll take a look at it for you. If need be, we'll have an inspector come out and take a look at it. But the exceptions are there in the code. Okay. Finally, I just want to introduce the program does have a new program code consultant. His name is Patrick Harris. So I would defer all technical questions to Patrick. He is the one who actively monitors the boiler tech box and comes to us with a wide range of experience and is also a licensed engineer. And so we're very happy to have Patrick on staff. Full versions of our code can be found at our DSPS website. And again, contact Boiler Tech with more technical questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Next up from our plumbing group, we have Mike McNally. Mike, are you there?
Yep, I'm here, Brandon. Can you hear me?
Ben?
All right. Let's see here. Not sure if there we go. All right. Thank you, Brandon. So my name is Mike McNally. I'm the section chief for the plumbing and pools program here at the state. And for just as a high level overview, this is just going to be some updates that have been going on in the plumbing program since our last DIS quarterly call. And so before I begin, I'll just kind of briefly talk about plumbing itself and the plumbing program, just a quick overview for some of the people that don't deal with our program on a regular basis. So the plumbing program here at the state is broken up into two sub-programs. Obviously, we have the plumbing program and the plumbing program, and we have the plumbing program and the public schools swimming pools program. The plumbing program takes care of consultations, inspections, investigations, plan review, product review services. The codes that we operate under for plumbing is SPS 381 to 387. One of the codes that's not listed here is 383, which is the POUTS code, which is handled by a separate program. In the public swimming pools program, we kind of do the same kind of thing. We do plan review, consultations, investigations, inspections, and those kind of things. The code that we use for public swimming pools is SPS 390. Now, both of these programs are granted authority to the department to run under Wisconsin Statute 145. And so there is a link there below, or at least the URL, so you can certainly go and find it for yourself. Otherwise, you can certainly do a quick Google search and find, just type in Wisconsin Statute 145. And you'll be able to read the statute associated with the granting of the authority to the department to run those two particular programs. All right, just again, a couple updates in the plumbing program. The first is that we do currently have the plumbing code open. And what I have on the screen there is just a snippet of the statement of scope. The statement of scope is basically the start of the plumbing code, administrative code making process. It's basically the start of the entire process to get it open and get the changes. The scope statement was issued by the department on June 4th of 2024, so last year. The main objective, obviously, is to make some changes in the code. When the plumbing code was originally updated last with the effective date of October 1st, 2023, there were a few inconsistencies, and so this particular code making process is to fix a few of those inconsistencies. The main purpose of the revisions to the plumbing code is obviously going to be focusing on SPS 381, 382, and 384, which is predominantly, for lack of better phrasing, the plumbing code. The Plumbing Code Advisory Committee is a separate committee that is tasked with assisting the department and advising the department on changes to the code. Now, the Plumbing Code Advisory Committee has started its discussions on revising the plumbing code. So we are in full force. I think we've had 3 or 4 meetings as of today. And so it's currently still going on. The Plumbing Code Advisory Committee is a committee that was created under Wisconsin Statute 227 and Statute 440. And again, the department or the advisory committee is there to advise the department on all the changes to the plumbing code. If you want to know a little bit more information about the Wisconsin Plumbing Code Advisory Committee, you can certainly visit our website. I do have the URL listed there at the bottom of the screen, but you can certainly go to our DSPS website and you can certainly look up boards and councils and scroll down till you find Wisconsin Plumbing Code Advisory Committee. So what you see on the screen here is just kind of a snippet of that particular website. Now, I want to draw your attention to the left-hand side under additional resources where you have meetings, schedules, and agendas. You can certainly click on that link and you'll be able to find all of the meetings that have happened, as well as all of the particular code sections that are being deliberated by the Plumbing Code Advisory Committee. In addition to that, if you want to, if you have a burning desire to suggest a particular change in the plumbing code, you can certainly do that by clicking on the suggest an agenda item and send it off to the department. In addition to that, there's also another link there. So if you have a desire to be actually on the committee, you can certainly apply to serve on the committee as well. There's a host of information on there on how to fill out an application, how to send it to the department. So again, the URL is down there below, but again, you can certainly find it by visiting dsps.wi.gov, go to boards and councils and scroll down till you find the Plumbing Code Advisory Committee. The next update that's going on in the plumbing program is that in October 1st of 2023, we did issue a new plumbing code with a number of changes. One of them in particular, we had some changes to healthcare and healthcare related facilities, which is a specific section within the plumbing code, specifically SPS 38250. And this guide document that the department put out is to kind of help and navigate specific situations as it relates to healthcare and healthcare facilities. When the plumbing code came out in October 1st of 23, we noticed, at least the department had noticed, receiving a number of plans from submitters where the owner was just, say, replacing a fixture or moving some piping around, or they moved a bathroom from one side of the wall to the other side of the wall, just minor changes or alterations or additions that they were doing to the healthcare facility. And some of these facilities did not have an existing disinfection system. And the disinfection system is a system that's outlined in SPS 38250, Parent 3, Parent B. And so we had to find a way to help navigate some of the, or help the designers navigate how to apply certain provisions within SPS 38250. And so this document outlines those specific situations and scenarios on how to help navigate if the particular building is, again, just adding a fixture here or moving a wall, or they're just rerouting a little bit of piping, whatever it may be that they're doing. This guide document is there to help navigate on how to apply the very specific provisions within 38250. Now, in order to kind of find this document, you can certainly go to our website and click on the upper heading called programs. You go to A to Z program list, and there you'll get an entire list of all of the particular programs that are in the Department of Safety and Professional Services. So what I have on the screen here is just a small snippet of that list, but I want to draw your attention to the fact that once you get to that page, you can certainly scroll down till you find plumbing. And when you click on plumbing, there's a lot of things on the plumbing page, which again, I'm not showing. This is just a snippet or a snapshot of our plumbing page. But if you scroll down till you find publications, you'll see the document called Guide to Additions and Alterations for Healthcare Facilities. And again, the document is a pretty encompassing list. It took us probably, I think it was in the workings of 6 to 8 months of working with all of our plan reviewers and our legal department to come up with this, hopefully this guide document that will help designers out there navigate the waters of SPS 38250 for their particular project that they got going on. All right. Shifting gears, we got some new faces for the plumbing program since our last DIS quarterly call. We have 3 new employees, new plumbing plan reviewers. We have Anthony Soboleski, who started with the department in November, and he's out of the La Crosse region. We have Matt Marciniak, who started with the department in January, late January of this year, and he's out of the Green Bay office. And we have Brian Pitroff, who started with the department in February, and he's out of Madison. All three of these individuals are master plumbers and commercial plumbing inspectors. And so they are working on plan reviews, doing inspections. So if any of the first people on the call that are plan review or designers, submitters, or even inspectors, now you can see that you have a face to put with the name when you're interacting with the department. So these three individuals now make the plumbing program whole. We are now up to full capacity in terms of our staffing levels. So if you get a chance, please welcome them aboard. Other than that, that's all I have for an update for the department. Just as a highlight, round it out. If you do have any questions, whether it's pool related or plumbing related, we do have tech boxes available. So you certainly, if you have any questions about the plumbing code, or if you have a pool that you're working on, we do have email tech boxes, and they're listed there on the screen. We man those tech boxes daily, and we try and do our best to return a response within 24 to 48 hours. If we don't, chances are it's either A, we're really busy with plan reviews or inspections or investigations, or two, it may be some more complicated type of question that we need to collaborate as a group, maybe even also incorporate legal on their opinion on responding, whatever it may be. But we try and do our best to respond back to your question within the 24 to 48 hour period. So other than that, that's all the updates I have for plumbing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And our last presenter of the day from our electrical program, we have Craig Mulder. Craig, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Good.
Oh, I just lost my place here. Yeah. I'm sorry, the screen just went blank. Getting to my slide.
You can see it now.
Can you take control
Yeah.
at the top?
Can you guys see? My screen just totally went wacky. There, I'm showing commercial electrical. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. So our electrical section, here we have a map of the state. We currently have District 1 is vacant. We are actively recruiting for that position. So if anyone knows anybody that might be interested or qualified for that position, the posting is available on WISC jobs. So what we do, what codes and standards we use, Wisconsin Statute 101.80 establishes electrical requirements for the electrical credentials. SBS 316 is our Wisconsin electrical code, and currently it adopts the 2017 edition of NFPA 70, or the National Electrical Code. And in the Wisconsin Administrative Code, SBS 305.40 through .47 establishes general requirements for each electrical credential. So these are the different electrical credentials and types of electrical credentials, and there are restrictions and limitations to what some of the credentials can do. Some key definitions. These are key because the definitions of direct supervision and general supervision, some electrical credentials or licenses are restricted to working under direct supervision, which means the supervising electrician has to be on site, while others are allowed to work under general supervision, excuse me, which just means that the master electrician or journeyman electrician responsible is supervising, but they don't have to be present on site. A master electrician license or credential, they basically have the ability to do any type of work, whether it's residential, UDC, commercial, and they do have the ability to supervise all electricians of all other license types. They also have the ability to obtain permits for anything, commercial electrical work or UDC electrical work, and most all of the electrical licenses do have a 4-year renewal cycle with a requirement of 24 CEUs every year. There are a few that have at least one registered electricians require 24 CEUs every year, but most of them are on a 4-year renewal cycle with 24 CEUs required during that 4 years. A residential master electrician, they're limited in scope to dwelling units and also the detached accessory buildings serving those dwelling units. They can supervise electricians on site, and they only have the ability to obtain UDC permits only. Again, when we talked about general supervision and direct supervision, a residential master electrician can work on things not associated with dwelling units if they are under direct supervision of a master electrician or journeyman electrician. A registered master electrician, this was a category that was created, I think about 10 years ago. They also can work on any electrical installation, be it residential or commercial, and they can supervise any of the electricians that are on site. The credential requirements, they have to be born before January 1 of 56, and they have to have a minimum of 15 years installing, repairing, or maintaining electrical wiring. There is no renewal of the license. It's once you are granted the license, it does not expire, and there are no CE requirements. A journeyman electrician, again, they can do work on residential or UDC, Uniform Dwelling Code situations, or any commercial electrical installation in the state. They also have a 4-year renewal with 24 CEUs required during those 4 years. An industrial journeyman electrician, they do electrical wiring within facilities or properties, industrial type facilities, manufacturing type facilities, but they also have to do work. They're under general supervision if somebody holds a master electrician or a registered master electrician, and the same requirements for CEUs and the renewal cycle. Residential journeyman electrician, again, they're limited to work electrical wiring associated with dwelling units, and they have to be under the general supervision of either a licensed master electrician or a licensed residential master electrician or a registered master electrician. And again, the same CEU and renewal requirements. Registered electrician, this is more of, I think they changed the name of it several years ago. It used to be called beginner electrician. So this is just for somebody starting out in the trade, and they have they can do wiring in UDC or commercial settings, but they have to be under the direct supervision of a person who holds a license, either a master or a journeyman or a registered master. So direct means on site. So these are like beginner electricians who have to have direct on site supervision. Electrical apprentice. Again, they're supervised by a master electrician, and they can do any type of work, also residential or commercial. The renewal of registration as electrical apprentice, industrial electrical, or residential electrical apprentice is contingent upon the person submitting evidence that the person is entered into an electrical apprentice contract recognized under Chapter 106 of the stats. So basically the rules for electrical, a lot of the rules for electrical apprentices are dependent on the agreement they signed in the contract they signed. Reciprocity. Currently, we only have reciprocity with 2 other states. We have reciprocity with Iowa for journeyman and master electrician, and New Hampshire for just journeyman electricians. Otherwise, we do not have any other reciprocal agreements at this time. Again, questions. We also have a tech box, DSPS Electric Tech. So we encourage if anybody has any electrical code or technical questions to use that tech box. We also monitor it daily, and we try to get out answers. We try within 24 to 48 hours also. That's all I had, Brandon.
Okay, thank you, Craig. And with that, concludes our spring quarterly call. Again, hope you found this valuable and will continue to attend future calls. Don't forget our newsletter coming out Friday. It'll have a link to a recording of this call and also a link to the survey. If you have any ideas about future content, like I said, we love to have them, and we know that it will keep folks interested. So thank you. We'll talk about you soon.